Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Skidmore, and I'm the director of the North Central Regional Center for Rural Development. Welcome to our webinar series. Today we have Kendra Wills and Jodee Ellett talking about supporting local food councils. And they have been working on a new professional development course designed to equip extension staff and community development professionals with the education material and resources, as well as organizational tools and videos to help support the development of sustainable and sustainability of food councils. So we're really happy to have Kendra here today. Unfortunately, Jodee could not be with us. Jodee is a local foods coordinator with Purdue Extension and has extensive experience working with food systems and food councils. Kendra Wills is with MSU Extension and also has extensive experience working with local food systems. So thank you again for being here today. If you are a participant and you're listening in, you can ask questions or make comments in the chat section. And then as Kendra is working her way through, she may answer those questions along the way or at the end. And so with that introduction, I'd like to ask Kendra to take over from here. Kendra, thanks again for being here and sharing this great information.
Well, thanks so much, Mark, and we really appreciate, on behalf of Jodee and I, the funding from the North Central Regional Center for Rural Development for enabling the development of this course. Jodee and I found that our collaboration worked really well. We were attending several conferences together and just found a need to help our extension colleagues and community development professionals feel more confident when working with food councils. And we'll get into the meat of this course. Thanks to everybody today for joining us. I also want to acknowledge today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and I hope that this course inspires people to create equitable and inclusive food councils that are representative of all members of the community, as Dr. King would support. So I hope we build off his legacy today with this course in a small way. And I noticed quite a few familiar names. I really appreciate some of the folks joining today as they made significant contributions to this course. And you may see yourself throughout the webinar here. Again, feel free to type questions in the chat. And if I don't answer them right away, I will get to them at the end. So we just wanted to put a slide to acknowledge our funding partner, the North Central Regional Center for Rural Development. We also received extensive support from Purdue University, their videography department, and MSU Extension. We had graphic designers, we had students, and especially Gwen Sheely. She's an instructional technology specialist with MSU Extension. She really helped us develop the D2L online learning platform and help us figure out how to program there, and spent many hours with us. So we really wanted to appreciate those institutions. So just a little bit of background about why we developed this online course called Supporting Local Food Councils. There's a rapid increase in the formation and interest in food councils. The Johns Hopkins Center for a Livable Future published a report in 2016 about food councils. I think Karen might be on, one of the authors might be on this webinar. And they found that there are 324 food councils or food policy councils around the United States. And just to be clear, I'm using food councils and food policy councils interchangeably in this program, and we use them interchangeably in our course. We realize there are some distinguishing characteristics, but for the most part, we are calling them food councils as a general name. The report also found that 31 states have state-level food councils. 89% of these food councils were formed in the last 10 years. And 20% of food councils are housed by another nonprofit organization, 23% are part of government, and 32% are kind of grassroots coalitions that may not have a formal nonprofit structure. They're just meeting, as an independent organization. And 7 councils are actually housed within Extension, according to the Johns Hopkins Center for a Livable Future report. As you might know, Extension professionals are a significant target audience for our training program because both Jodee and I do come from Extension, and we just felt like the need to help support our colleagues as well as colleagues with a community development background. So this is sort of our online course development process. We originally wrote a grant proposal for a small grant to the NCRCRD to write a curriculum workbook. And we quickly realized writing a workbook may limit the availability and it may increase the cost. And there are many online learning platforms that are easily adaptable, and you can promote them pretty broadly with minimal cost, very efficient learning devices. And we gravitated towards MSU Extension's D2L online platform simply because it was free and it's open to the public, and we didn't have to have a cutoff date, and the registration process is fairly simple. So we thought this was a good solution, and I'm able to access and update the course whenever I like. We also wanted to acknowledge that our course outline concepts were reviewed by the Johns Hopkins Center for a Livable Future team. We really appreciate all the time that this team put into helping us define our audience, our goals, reviewing curriculum materials, pilot testing the course, and contributing some excellent videos. And you'll be able to see one of these excellent videos today. They are a national leader in online learning and food councils as well, and we have many of their resources tied to this course, so I encourage everybody to really use them as a resource for your food council development. Again, our audience heavily are extension educators or agents, community groups, and community development professionals. And we wanted this course to be free, and we wanted to give you open access so you can use materials when food councils are meeting. You can pull up a video, you can pull up a resource, you can print off copies for your food council, share them, talk about the materials as a council. Or it could be homework before for people to do independently before your next council meeting. And if you're just starting to get into the local food council work, you don't have a council yet to work with, that's totally fine. I think you'll still find the course really beneficial to understand what food councils are and what they can do. Here's the 15 modules of our course. It is broken up into 15 modules. You will get to see the actual course at the end of the slide presentation. So we'll go in so you can navigate around. And we have pretty much divided up these topics into explaining what food councils are, how to select a structure or how your food council functions, how food councils can engage the community different variety of ways, and how to sustain a council for the long term. And that revolves around funding and creating programs, like food summits, regular activities, managing meetings, and even soft skills like facilitation and leadership development that are really important to build your effective food councils. So these topics are really identified for people with less than 3 years of experience working with a food council. If you have more than that, you can probably still benefit from the course, but just understand that is our target audience, is people with less than 3 years working with food councils. And this is just a snapshot of one of the videos of my colleague Michelle from MSU Extension, who lended a testimonial video for the course. Here are our instructors, some of them. We did have a few that we weren't able to secure photographs for, but some of our instructors, we have 9 states and Canada. You will notice there are several from Indiana and Michigan, but we've got the team from Johns Hopkins, from Maryland, Florida with Caitlin, and Kansas with Barbara LeClaire, and Kimberly in Canada. She's based out of Vancouver. We also have Kathy with the University of Missouri, several of wonderful MSU Extension colleagues from MSU, and we do have a few non-university practitioners like Amanda Edmonds and J.R. Reynolds contributed videos for the course. And from North Carolina, we have Becky Bowen, who's an attorney, and she's really talking about legal structures of food councils. Brian Raisin from The Ohio State University, who has extensive experience working with food councils all over Ohio. And he's helping to lead the E-Extension community of practice around local and community food. And Heather Manzo in Pennsylvania, she's one of the extension housed local food councils with Pittsburgh, I believe, Food Council. She's a staff person for that as part of her role with Extension. This is really the structure. We have videos, which we call course content videos, and these tend to be longer videos. You'll get a chance to see one, I believe, on the next slide. We have some shorter testimonial videos embedded in each module. We have course readings and some downloadable tools like PDF documents or websites. And then we have a quiz in each module. And we have a quiz for people that like to test their knowledge to make sure that they are obtaining the main points, the main objectives of each of the modules. And we also have a quiz because we have an optional certificate of completion for people that want to earn a certificate for professional development purposes, maybe for some kind of certification program. Like I am a member of the American Institute for Certified Planners. We have some flex kind of CEU credits that I might be able to use this course to fill. We don't, I should note, have any official CEU credits right at this moment. We don't have any organizations with official CEU credits, but I am taking requests. I have received several email requests from organizations and people wanting to get CEU credits for specific organizations or specific professions. I'm cataloging those requests, and I'm going to maybe see if I can get a student to work on that this summer. So if you have a request for CEUs for this course for an organization, please feel free to email me, and my email will be included in the slides at the end, or you can put it in the chat. I could document it in the chat as well. So again, that certificate of completion is optional. That's just an optional thing. It's not a requirement. This is a free open access course that you can really go in any order that you choose. You don't have to complete all 15 modules. You can just complete the modules or just pull the tools and resources that really speak to your needs. So here we have our first video. Ann Palmer, Program Director with the Food and Communities and Public Health Program of the Johns Hopkins Center for a Livable Future. This is what you would see as a program presentation. So we're going to watch it. It's about 3 minutes, it says. And we're just noting.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ann Palmer, and I'm a Program Director at the Johns Hopkins Center for a Livable Future. And I'm here to talk to you today about food councils. Food councils, sometimes called food policy councils, bring together people engaged in various sectors of the food system to shape state, local, regional, tribal, or institutional policies and programs. Councils work on everything from anti-hunger initiatives and federal nutrition programs to farmland preservation. In 2016, there were close to 270 groups in the United States. Healthy food access was the #1 issue, followed by land use planning, economic development, food procurement, anti-hunger, and food waste and recovery. They use many different names, coalitions, collaboratives, alliances, and are different in their structure, affiliation, membership, and the content areas they cover. Most share a common goal of deepening their understanding of the food system so they can increase the impact of their efforts, collectively and as individual organizations. Members come from nonprofits, government, agriculture, public health, neighborhoods impacted by food system issues, retail, restaurants, universities, schools, and more. Food councils can play several roles in the community. They help groups working on various food and agricultural programs get to know each other and their work, which helps avoid duplication of efforts. They also create a space for various sectors to discuss and learn about the challenges and opportunities each sector is facing. That increased awareness can lead to councils deciding to advocate for policy changes that can potentially benefit many members of the council. People often shy away from focusing on policy because they think it means legislative action. Laws are one type of policy. Ordinances, regulations, and permitting are also some examples. Policy also includes where resources are directed, such as budgeting decisions, trade agreements, and funded scholarship. Executive orders and resolutions are also considered policy actions. Why do communities start food councils? The most important reason has to do with the nature of food system problems. Food system problems are complicated and multidimensional. Some communities may start a food council because the issues they are working on are unique to their community and can only be solved at the local level. Studies have found that policy issues with strong community support are more successful in the implementation stage. Solutions developed in isolation from other food sectors can result in new problems. In many areas, there are lots of programs and activities, but they are frequently not connected or even aware of each other. Through the council, an agricultural group may now have contact with the health department to discuss food safety regulations, or the planning department to discuss farmers market permits, which they may not have been able to reach before without an appropriate contact. Developing relationships across food system sectors opens doors to decision makers or individuals that may not have been accessible before. I encourage you to go to our website, foodpolicynetworks.org, where you can find a resource database of over 900 resources, a directory of councils operating in North America, and join our listserv with 1,300 members. Find out about other communication.
Great, thanks for doing that. Now, next we actually have Brian Raisin, Dr. Brian Raisin. He's going to show us a testimonial video, what that looks like. So this is the shorter format that you would find in a module. And I'll mute my microphone this time.
Hey everybody, Brian Raisin here with Ohio State University Extension, and a lot of times in our extension organizations we get asked about helping to form a food council. How do you have that first meeting? How do you bring people together, or start a planning committee, or invite stakeholders? Well, the process, there are several formation planning guides out there. I suggest looking at those. This can be really helpful. We sort of have one that we follow in Ohio where we strategically ask, as a facilitator, Ohio State will come in and work with groups to get them to think outside of their box, where we strategically target people in different geographic areas. We want to ensure diversity. We want to ensure that the practitioners, the government officials, the different folks who may be involved or may become stakeholders are there. That could also include local foundation folks, for funding, educational institutions, citizens, most definitely, people who are interested in being food entrepreneurs, backyard egg producers, different things like that. So you want to expand and make sure that when you're working with a group and forming a new council, that they come together. The other piece that's really critical is thinking about the mission and vision of a food council. A lot of times people have great ideas and they get together and hey, we want to do this. There's a need, but they don't have a clear, articulated vision. So I've actually taken the time to spend 2 to 4 hours and ask the group to bear with me or to try this, but to invest in doing some formal strategic planning. And so we've got an outline for that as well, and you can use a generic one. It's pretty straightforward stuff. But you bring them together and you start asking those key questions and helping the different folks align and make sure that the vision is going in the same way, and then you formally create a vision and a mission statement. That can be really, really helpful. When you then move on to actually forming a board structure and what does the leadership look like in a food council, in that situation we've had pretty standard president, vice president, secretary, treasurer structure, because there are times when you will need to vote, and particularly if you move into a financial situation where you want to form a new 501c3 versus partnering with an existing organization. So you've got to think through those things, and again, your strategic planning will help you do that. So that's a little bit about some structural ideas that you might employ or deploy as you begin working with groups who want to form a new food council.
So those are 2 samples videos from our course, so you can just get a sense of kind of what those videos would look like. And yeah, I do apologize for the echoing on the first video. Move ahead. So as I said, quizzes are optional. If you want to earn the certificate, we do require 100% score on all 15 quizzes, but you can retake the quizzes as many times as you need to. So that's kind of nice, and there's no timeout. This is a self-paced course. There's no deadline for completion. The tools, I mentioned there are readings and then there are tools. There are things like an evaluation plan, a link to some of the Johns Hopkins resource, the Community Food Assessment Guide, logic models, evaluation tools. Those are kinds of things that are tools. Here's our summary. We have 52 videos, 23 speakers from 9 states and Canada. We have 19 tools from 12 different sources, again about 1 to 2 tools per module. We have 27 readings, so you can see there's more than one because we have 15 modules with varying length. Here's what the certificate, you actually get a certificate that prints out at the end of the course. If you earn the 100% score on all 15 modules, and you can go in different orders. You don't have to go in exact numerical order. Here's what our pilot sisters said. So we had 15 people pilot test the course from all over the US. Many people contributed content, were pilot testers. 100% of people said that this course met their expectations, and 100% said that they would recommend the course to others. They thought the instructions were clear, most people, and that they could easily access the course. Here are some quotes from the course. People liked that they could go in and out of the course as they chose. If people are working with food councils, they thought that this was very relevant to their work, very practical knowledge to have. We wanted to know what the course is not. It is really not for people forming a state food council, statewide council. It's not for very experienced people with many years of experience working with councils. You probably won't get a whole lot out of it. There may be some things, but not extremely, modules. And we do have quite a few people from Michigan and Indiana, so it tends to be extension focused, and Michigan, Indiana, Midwest focused. We do have, of course, contributors from all over but we do acknowledge that that was the majority of people, just because that's our natural network here in the Midwest. We do plan to have ongoing communication with our course participants. So if you register for the course, we do ask for your email, and we ask if you want to sign up for the Local Food Council's Networks listserv in Michigan. And those are really helpful monthly, about monthly emails with webinars and resources and grant notifications. Some things are Michigan specific, but some things aren't. So it would be helpful, we think. And I'm going to keep an email list and email course participants maybe a few times a year with new resources, and of course to document longer term outcomes from the course. So we wanted to give you the website. It's free. There's been, I think, 24 people have signed up for the course in the last couple of days. So this is the landing page, the cnar.msu.edu, supporting local food councils. So if you wanted to copy and paste that in a note or in a Word document, this is your access to the course. Hopefully Google would come up with it if you typed in supporting local food councils. I think Rosa might be typing it in the chat as well. So please do bookmark that. That's your entrance to the course. That's how to register for the course, the links. So there is a process for creating an ID, a community ID to get in. If you have any troubles, we have a great technology assistance program. So I feel pretty confident that people can do this pretty easily. And people with MSU Extension have a very easy access. We can just go to d2l.msu.edu to access with our NetID and our password. So please feel free to email me any questions or call me on the phone. I'm very open to questions from anybody. I'm willing to send flyers. I had a request for somebody that wanted flyers about the course so they could hand it out to their food council members. I'm happy to do that if that would be helpful. And I wanted just to take a few minutes. Feel free to type in the chat if you have any questions, but I wanted to take a few minutes to actually show you what the course looks like. So I'm going to do stop sharing. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to try and pick the right one here. Yes. I think I'm doing this. Hopefully you can see the course. So I'm in the course home. This is where you'll land on if you enter the course. I'm clicking on content. That's where our modules are housed. So you get a welcome to the course. Jodee and I did a welcome video. I won't play that. I don't think we have time to play that. You get a list of our instructors, and you can click on everybody's name and see their biography. We'll click on Karen, who I think is online here with us today. And then Gwen calls that up at the top a breadcrumb trail, and I use that to go back and forth. So module 1, what is a food council and what does it do? That's where Anne's video is at. You get a checklist of activities of what you want to be doing. If you want to earn the certificate of completion, again, you can kind of go through and read the descriptions of each of the videos and see if this is something that you're interested in. So everything has a description. Everything, is pretty accessible once you click on that content button at the top. Again, content. And then you can use this menu bar on the left-hand side to kind of go from module to module. And then once you're inside the modules, going back and forth, I'll go to this testimonial video. I use this, what Gwen calls a breadcrumb trail of getting back and forth. And I can go back to module 4, or I could go back to the table of contents from there. So that's what that looks like. Let's see if I can get back here to stop sharing to see. Great. Yep. So feel free to enter any questions, and I think we have an evaluation to give you. I think we're right here at 12:30. Thanks so much for your positive comments. I hope it's useful. I'm willing to accept comments from anybody. If you have something, if you have a resource that you want to see linked to the comments or distributed, I'd be happy to take an email about that.
Well, thanks, Kendra. It sounds this is a great resource for people, and really appreciate the nice, clear presentation and give us a sense of what's in your curriculum. And then I've also posted the summary evaluation. Really appreciate your feedback.